got you singing high notes, high notes. In love with you.
And we are back on Behind the Songs with Jordan from Neil Francis, and today I'm going to dive into a new single called High Notes featuring the one, the only Paul Rod. This one is very reliant on a sample by the Truthettes titled So Good to Be Alive. I originally came across this sample from a song by 2 Chainz, and I love the sample so much it turned me on to the actual original song itself, and I was like, I want to see what I would do to that one if I flipped it. So really quickly we chopped up the intro first little section of the track, and then I ran that to my tape machine so you can hear the beat like this. Pretty great sample right away. Chopped out the little start as well, so it had kind of like a little throw in, very hip hop sort of feel. And then the mysterious, the ever unknowable Gregorian, our bass player, came through and did a couple of different bass takes. One where it's just the bass guitar playing underneath the sample. So you can hear that without the sample. And then during the chorus, or the part where Mark's singing In Love With You, he engages his wah pedal. Very cool vibe. Pretty simple song overall, to be honest with you. It's short, it's punchy, it's to the point. A couple of other cool little bits and pieces along the way here. We've got a very cheap keyboard in our studio, Casio keyboard, and it's got all these sort of like attempts at orchestral sounds and pianos and stuff, and it doesn't sound like a real piano, it doesn't sound like a real plucked instrument. So you could say that it sounds bad, but it also sounds kind of endearingly cool and unique because it sounds so terrible. So these little like plucky moments almost sound like a Dr. Dre sample. There's some reverb, it sounds pretty fantastic, and then in the beat it's just like this cool kind of like additional moment that's happening. I really love, obviously, you can probably hear it in our music, but I'm a huge fan of 90s hip hop and the aesthetic behind that, 90s R&B. And I used to always love that there would be the lead single from a 50 Cent album or a Snoop album or a Jey Zey album or something like that. It'd be Jey Z rapping, and then there'd be whoever the R&B girl at the minute singing the chorus, like a Ja Rule and a Shanti type record. And in a way, I'm kind of using Mark as that R&B singer in this song. So kind of Paul Rod's doing the verses that are also insanely catchy, and then Mark comes in and does the chorus. Again, super simple song, this one. Only 2 tracking Rod stuff. His voice is so special and unique. You really don't have to do all that much to it at all. So yeah, we can hear Rod's vocals soloed here.
Oh, we could go on the ropes.
Just a simple double.
This week I want you even more.
Then the second half of his verse, I've added additional sort of falsetto stuff where he's using a higher voice, and then he's mixing that kind of like his main vocal tone, and then the falsetto that he sings in, I'll have him do a pass or 2 or a double, and then I'll tuck the falsetto behind, but it just adds a little bit of additional emphasis to what he's saying. If the verse goes for 16 bars, the first 8 bars is just his normal voice, then the next 8 bars are maybe little bits of his falsetto, just to keep pushing the song along and adding things to keep your ear interested. So you can hear the falsetto sounds like this.
Bring it to light or keep it low.
But then in the mix with his other vocal.
Bring it to light or keep it low.
And then over the track.
Bring it to light or keep it low. I got you singing high notes, high notes.
So as I said, I use Mark as kind of the R&B hook singer in this song. Simple one-line refrain, in love with you, over and over again. But I stacked the hell out of his vocals. So double stack of Mark's vocals here.
In love with you. In love with you.
So there's a couple of different takes in the background here of Mark doing some additional kind of like background vocals. Pass 1, 2, 3, different harmony. And then, so a low one there, then all together. And then with the actual vocal line itself as well.
In love with you. In love with you.
That's the whole vocal take, and then from there I sent that whole vocal take to the tape machine so you can hear the tape machine version of it.
In love with you.
And then all of that in the mix together.
In love with you. In love with you. In love with you.
And you can hear that tape machine take doing some cool like tape breathing here.
In love with you.
Very cool shit. Yeah, so for the chorus I just did a little bit of trickery stuff. I think Mark played some drums from the room, or I just recorded Mark playing some drums with just a simple overhead mic here. So you can hear the drums as they are in the song. I've pitched those down 12 semitones, so this is what they sounded like when they were recorded. And I pitched them down 12 semitones. I kept those cool plucks happening during that sort of in love with you moment throughout the chorus. And just added a Juno synthesizer, kind of just adding some atmosphere with an LFO. And then Rod in the background there, kind of like on the vocal refrain.
I got you singing.
I know.
Fall in love with you. I got you singing. In love with you. I got you singing. In love with you.
I just did a vocal, just pretty simple little volume fade on the drums. Sort of a weird thing to do, I guess, over a chorus, is to make everything get quieter, but there's like this, I guess, intimacy in the idea of the song and in what Mark is singing that, I guess, lends itself to this sort of intimate moment towards the end of the chorus.
I got you singing. In love with you.
Everything dissipates basically to nothing. And it also makes the moment where the beat comes back in a little bit more kind of like attention grabbing, because it's all gone so quiet, and then it goes back to that sick little thing that comes in before the beat every time, that little sample here. Love that. And then different chop on verse 2, I went in there and like chopped it up even more, so it's slightly different than the first one. So the comparison between the chop in verse 1 versus verse 2 here. Verse 1. Stays pretty true to the original sample, whereas this one I've gone in and kind of cut it up a lot more. Once again, Rod's come in, verse 2, again.
See the tears stride on your cheek.
Really simple two-track recording of him, nothing fancy at all, like very simple EQ, some compression. Yeah, I've got a particular reverb for Rod happening here, which is pretty crazy looking by the look of it, but all adds to the sort of sound. But ultimately the recording of him is pretty simple, it's just 2 takes. The song keeps the same structure as it goes along here, so you can see that the second verse happens here.
I see the tears stride on your cheeks. I know you had a long week. I got one road. We gotta speak right now.
Just getting a little bit more interesting and kind of like crazier with the chopping and stuff, stopping and starting and cutting the beat out to make his flow kind of like bounce along. And then again into his chorus.
Oh, we could go on a road.
This time adding some additional falsetto stuff from from Rod. I had Mark doing it as well, but looks like I ended up muting it just to keep that part like Rod's. And then again, Mark comes in with the hook at the end. And that's kind of the long and the short of it. Simple, short, punchy song. Great performances from both Rod and Mark in this one. Love it. The sample is a special one for me. Can't wait for this one to come out, or if it's already out, I hope you guys dig it.